Hello and welcome to Sam's on Wrestling, and this is our Hall of Fame. Chicken Jigger Hall of Fame, and so on. This is our video where we decide what matches, segments, and moments will go into our Hall of Fame. They could be because they're brilliant, they could be because they're so terrible. Essentially, they are memorable, and they will go into the Sam's Hall of Fame. I am joined today by the babiest of all baby Sams. Hello, baby Sam.
Hello and good morning to you.
Looking
all.
very dapper.
Thank you very much.
We always dress up for the Hall of Fame. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Are you excited for January's Hall of Fame?
I'm incredibly excited. I love the Hall of Fame, and it's January. It's a new year. It's a new Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. I'm very excited. I love this.
Where we look in the past.
Yeah, exactly. Look forward
it's
to
a
the
new
past. Yes.
But before we get into our favourite moments, matches, and or segments, please tell us in the comments what are your matches that you would love to put into your Hall of Fame, your personal Hall of Fame that you want to keep forever. The idea is that it's like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It will never leave. They will be, placed in a vault, and you'll get to keep them for the rest of time. So Triple H and Scott Steiner is kept for the rest of time. So please put it in the comments what you want, what match, segment, moment you would want to do. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So let's get on with a Hall of Fame pick. Sam, would you like to kick us off? What match would you love to enter into the Sam's Hall of Fame?
I don't think this is going to be a very predictable one.
Okay.
I'm going with something that I don't think gets enough appreciation because of the result and the outcome that we all felt at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, WrestleMania 39.
Oh, okay. But a bit more modern than we've had recently.
Now, I love WrestleMania 40, and it's all the shenanigans, and it's finished in story, it's perfect, it's wonderful, it's great. It'll probably end up in this Hall of Fame at some point.
Arguably, the WrestleMania 39 match is actually a better
This
match.
is the thing that I think is forgotten. I think the match between Roman and Cody, and it was more of a one-on-one until the shenanigans at the end.
Oh, it's just such a rubbish end.
It is.
In fact, it's solo. They could have done anything else. It was just, it's just solo back again.
And everyone felt very deflated.
Debut a new Bloodline member if you're going to do it.
Maybe, or just do something. Mm-hmm. But I cannot get it because it wasn't that certain. We all thought Cody was winning.
I would argue I was 100% certain Cody was winning.
There you go. I think some
doubt.
people were a bit 70-30. But you had that. I think people had that little doubt in the mind because of Roman. It was Roman.
Well, I think we all went, who's going to win then? If Cody doesn't do it now, then who's it going to be? Obviously,
Cody.
We didn't think it'd be Cody a year later, which is the correct decision in the end. It turns out it was the correct decision to do it that way. Built even more of a story, and that WrestleMania 40 of the end game, and
which is why I now feel comfortable putting it in the Hall of Fame because it worked out. In hindsight, you go, actually, that was perfect at the time, and it did produce what it wanted them to produce. If WrestleMania 40's main event had been Rock versus Roman, this might not get in here.
I don't understand why they even thought that was the way to go.
No.
I don't understand that's the way to go.
But what I'm getting is I think this match isn't appreciated enough for the masterpiece of one-on-one simple wrestling that it is. The storytelling with Roman having to go out of the ring and Heyman kind of reassures him. It's just a masterpiece. And it's a shame that it was kind of undercut a little bit by the ending. But I think that is the best one-on-one match, wrestling-wise.
We were all deflated anyway because of Roman winning. It was almost like I really almost wish Roman had won clean, almost. I would have argued it almost would have been better. I would have potentially gone down the route of Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, have Cody be in the... Roman has that kind of vice move, doesn't he?
Yes.
And have Cody in that for 8.5 minutes and then pass out or something, bleed, whatever. I would have rather they've gone that route and Cody had the year of proving that he was worthy of having another go. That's how I would have done it.
But you know what I said? I think the deflating way in which it happened
helped into the 40.
I think that was perfect because we had this feeling of injustice and that was terrible. We want to return it, to overturn that. So I think it worked perfectly in the end. I said to you at the time I thought it was the wrong decision.
You did, yes.
And I'm so glad I was wrong.
And if you recall, the person who actually told you to give it that time and wait for it was me.
My fear was, and I saw what you were saying in that. My fear was a lot can change in a year, and you don't know if Vince isn't going to have control, whatever, which turned out to be the case. And then you don't have injuries. I just thought if one of them gets injured, then it's not easy to have. Because I said Cody be that hot a babyface again.
I said immediately that Cody would go for it at 40 and win it. The minute after that happened, we had the text chain, and I went, it will happen. I like this match. I really do like this match. It's actually a really good WrestleMania.
Yeah.
There's some really good matches, and this ended. I think we all got deflated, but at the end of the day, Infinity War is deflating, and then Endgame has that ending, and I think that was WWE's version of Infinity War and Endgame.
Absolutely.
Especially with everyone turning up at the end.
It's perfect.
I think you should throw it in to the Hall of Fame, Sam. We're
There
go
it is.
Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, WrestleMania 39 into the Hall of Fame.
So, Sam, what have you gone with for your match pick of this round's Hall of Fame?
Do you know what, Sam? It's January. And I don't care that I'm a basic bitch. Said Roman in 2016. I am picking Royal Rumble moments and matches and everything. It's all Royal Rumble-y for me.
Okay.
And I'm going with the one that you probably know exactly what Royal Rumble match I'm going to put in. Would you like to guess what Royal match I'm going to put in?
2002.
I am entering the Royal Rumble of 2002. And I don't care that this is the personal Hall of Fame for a reason. It was my first ever Royal Rumble, and every single person remembers their first ever Royal Rumble. Everyone's first ever Royal Rumble is a good Rumble. Doesn't matter where you are, what it was. Doesn't matter if it's 2014, 15, 22. Your first Rumble is your favourite Rumble for a long time. It takes something really special to overtake it. This Rumble had everything. There was 4 people returning, and I'd never heard of any of them. I didn't know The Godfather, Venus. I didn't know Mr. Perfect and Goldust. So there was just 4 new people for me to learn and see, and that was exciting. I'd only just learned who Triple H was. The Madison Square Garden pop was insane, and then suddenly he's going to win this Rumble. I didn't know because, kayfabe and all that jazz. And then you've got Kurt Angle saying, I always win the first thing I'm going to do. I thought Kurt was going to win it, actually. I thought Kurt was going to win it because I was 10. I was 10 and stupid. This match, to me, is just so special. It's my first ever box office pay-per-view. So it was the first one I ever bought, or we bought as a family, because I think we got No Mercy and Survivor Series for free. They were on Sky. And then Vengeance, that Jericho wins the title, was on box office, and my parents didn't buy it. And then Rumble's like, buy the Rumble, it's really good, I've heard it's amazing, it's got 30 people, I didn't know. Because what was your first Rumble, 2009?
2009.
And there's just something about a Rumble for the first time. And when you get a good one, is your first one, it's even better. Yeah. And I had there's so many great moments in that. Hurricane trying to choke slam, Triple H and Stone Cold.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Undertaker's run gets stopped by the Hardys, and then he throws them out, and then Maven eliminates him. Stone Cold goes on a rampage for a middle bit. It was almost like they gave all the stars a moment to do anything, unless your name's RVD. Comes in, frog splash, pedigree, dead. That was it. That's all that happened to RVD, that one of the hottest acts from 2001, but whatever. Booker T gets stunned out of the ring.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Unnecessarily.
Down, like he's a spring.
Pretty much.
Like he's a doing. But this match to me is just something so special. And I think for me to have a Royal Rumble go in, we're going to have many Royal Rumbles over the course of the next billion years of us doing this channel that will go in. And I would have been remiss if the first ever one wasn't during January and wasn't the 2002 Royal Rumble. So how would you think about the Royal Rumble 2002?
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's a great Rumble to watch because there's not much downtime there. A lot of it is the stuff going on.
A little bit in the middle with Austin.
Early on,
but just before Austin comes in, so just after Undertaker and Maven, we do have this little run of downtime. We've got it's Christian, DDP, Scotty Too Hotty, Perry Saturn, Chuck Palumbo, where not a lot. Admittedly, there is an element of guys, you need a star. You need a star in here to bolster these, because there was no Undertaker, there was no Austin or anything. That was between Undertaker and Austin. After Undertaker got eliminated Maven, we were like, guys, could you do that? And that's the only thing that draws it from being maybe a world class. It's one moment short, maybe, of upper echelon, but wow. I mean, wow. But by having put all those jobbers in, Austin got to eliminate. I wish they just kept them all in, because Scotty got eliminated, DDP got eliminated, Godfather, Albert. God, that was a really big middle, actually. I'd have left them all in and just have Austin come in and eliminate all 7. That's what I would have done. But can I add it into our Hall of Fame?
Of course you can.
So the 2002 Royal Rumble enters our Hall of Fame. We move on to our induction of a moment in time. Sam, what moment would you like to add?
I want to give a little bit of love to AEW. Okay. I don't feel like I've done that much on the channel yet, and I've not given them a Hall of Fame moment specifically about AEW.
I've done a WCW, but we haven't done a Hall of Fame. No, and there's no AEW Hall of Fame so far.
So I'm going to kick that off, John Moxley's debut.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's
wow.
just so special to me. Like we watched that together.
We watched it. We were excited. We were done.
Yeah.
We were done with WWE. How long before or after was Hell in a Cell? When they did Brock, Braun,
right
Roman.
around the same neck of the woods, wasn't
it was awful.
Was that Brock Braun or was that the Seth
Brock
Fiend?
Braun.
Right.
Braun.
2 back-to-back Hell in a Cells.
And it was really bad, and we were all just done, dead. Yeah. And we tried everything we could to find a stream to watch. AEW, Double or Nothing.
Because, again, we didn't know prior to that year people who were also into wrestling, and to have a little mini group of wrestling fans. And the worst time of wrestling, and you're just like, we want to watch something that we actually enjoy that's wrestling. And AEW, I was so excited about it at the time. I really did enjoy the first year or so of AEW.
It was really spectacular.
Good.
COVID really did hit them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they started signing everybody who ever existed and not pushing and had too big of a roster and too many titles and too many problems.
This is a Hall of Fame.
All right, sorry.
This is good.
Triple H Scott Steiner.
It was when, Jericho's won the match and Moxley comes down from the crowd and just the buzz. Like I think in another video I talked to you about like a feeling of a zeitgeist at the time. It's hard to, when you go back, to really understand how monumental these things are to people.
He'd only just left, because it wasn't normally they wait 90 days or whatever, but his contract ran out, so he didn't have a no compete clause.
It felt like Scott Hall in WCW, like seismic, like that's Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, and he's coming and fighting Jericho, and it was really chaotic. Like, he had a massive brawl with Omega, and it was just
the Dirty Deeds on top of the chips.
I remember a moment where, so we were all excited about him coming, and he Dirty Deeds, or whatever he calls his paradigm shift, his finisher on Jericho, and it was him and Omega were just fighting in the crowd, going mental, and we were all just like, this is awesome, amazing.
It's a thing they've lost.
Yeah,
it's a thing they've lost. Because they've had too many people randomly debut and all this stuff, and they kind of just debut. But that's probably one of the best debuts, because it debuted as the perfect time, perfect moment.
Perfect time. And
it was just so good.
That was what that event needed to be, like, as a statement like,
it made a statement. It made a statement of, we are better than you, and they were. For the next 3 years, even when they were struggling a little bit in COVID, they were so much better than WWE. Yeah. And I want them to get back to that, because I think they've had a better second half of 2024, and hopefully they'll push on in 2025. But their roster is still too bloated. They kept talking about the deal with the TV over and over and over again, and they were happy with it, even though it was less than what USA paid for Raw. Just Raw, not SmackDown, not NXT, in 2018. And you're like, that's not great, lads. And I think they need to go back to that, where it's just really highlighted their guys. I feel like it feels like WCW now. There's too many WWE guys. People jumping is great, and you want the right people to jump. I don't need to see an MVP, 40-odd years old and jump over, but a John Moxley, a main eventer, loved it. Yeah. I'm happy with that to go into Hall of Fame.
Put it in the way it made me feel.
Yeah, put it in, Sam. The John Moxley debut at Double or Nothing for All Elite Wrestling.
So, Sam, for your moment, what have you gone with?
Your moment lasted a long time. It was it's on the cusp of being a segment.
It's in there.
Mine is a moment of a moment. I mean, literally, Sam, it's probably going to be the shortest moment, maybe, on the history of...
I like short, that's fine.
We're back in the Rumble.
Okay.
We're doing an elimination.
I
arguably think this is one of the greatest eliminations from an aesthetic standpoint. So it's maybe not the greatest elimination of all time, but I think it's the greatest elimination of all time from an aesthetic standpoint. And this is the 2005 Royal Rumble. Gene Snitsky clotheslining Paul London, who backflips
so close
out of the ring.
His head is so close to that floor.
I might be making this up, so bear with me. Apparently got a lot of heat for this, London, but they brought out stretchers for him, so it seems like it felt planned. So I'm not quite sure. Like, they said don't do this, and then he does, and then they bring out stretchers. I want to know if someone went, stay down, we'll get a stretcher, and this will make it look a bigger moment even more. But I've heard
maybe some producers were in it. Was Vince not in it?
I don't know. I've heard they weren't happy with it, but why would you not? It looked phenomenal.
I can see it because it's dangerous. It is dangerous.
Not if you're in control, and he was.
But
in
he
control.
was close.
He was in control. No, he just knows how to flip late. That was what
Yeah.
Paul London's thing was. He used to flip really late. I always find with a lot of things, and he made it look.
It's legendary. It's the best thing either men have done in their career.
And the best thing is about that, I liked it as well. This is when you start talking about the minutiae of being able to take a move and do a move. You know, when someone does a flip out or something, they get barely touched so that they can do their full flip.
Yeah, it's true.
You watch it, it looks like he actually gets hit by Snitsky with the clothesline. He does look like it goes back, and it's beautifully solved. Snitsky, fair play to him, he gets it right as well. He's got to get his bit right, and it's just one of the things where you're watching it, and Paul London, who's that? He was a nobody at the time. He'd only just really made his debut about 6 or 7, 8 months prior, and he hadn't really done much. I think he might have had a tag reign with Billy. No, not then. Right, okay. With Billy Kidman, right. And then they had a match at No Mercy, and Billy Kidman did a not 450, the shooting star press on a stretcher while he was all blooded. It was actually quite cool, but that's it. That's all he'd done. So this is pretty much his return to a pay per view, I think. And he was a nobody. Everyone was like, "Oh no, why have you entered?" And I hope it was for that moment, because I tell you what a moment. I absolutely love this. So we're gonna go with Paul London's backflip into the Hall of Fame. Our final Hall of Fame inductions coming. We're now looking at favourite segments for ourselves. Sam, what segment would you like to add into the Hall of Fame?
I think this one is overdue. I think when I think of segments, this is the first thing that comes to mind as a segment. The Festival of Friendship. It is the pinnacle of what a segment should be.
Jericho's greatest ever thing.
And I don't think that's even an insult. That's one of the best pieces of character work I've seen. You managed to turn a heel. Genuinely, it was one of the most devastating heel turns in history. Not even Big Show could do that.
You are absolutely right. Yes. You're spot on.
And in doing so, you turn Chris Jericho into such a great babyface that, yes, they didn't capitalise on it, but that's not what this show is about. This is the moment in the vacuum.
You felt something was coming, but you couldn't quite work out what it was going to be. You all assumed that Kevin was probably going to attack Jericho.
But it wasn't that obvious at the time, because he's just about to face Goldberg. You think, well, he's going to get the Goldberg thing out of the way, and then they're going to do the turn.
Yeah.
And the way it was done, the way you made Jericho, because that heel team, because they were so entertaining and they were against Roman and Seth, who were blandy bland, basically kind of got cheered a lot. Even though they were heels doing heel things.
And they were just thrown together as well.
Exactly. And
Jericho went, I could work with him, he's funny.
Yeah. And the chemistry was... if they weren't on Raw in 2016...
Oh my God.
Jesus. What do you do? But they
did you see the statistic of how many times a combination of Kevin,
Roman
and Jericho had a match?
Yeah.
23.
It's bad.
That's how many combinations
it's bad. But because they in this segment, they just lent into it. And they were just they made the relationship, and Jericho in particular, so likeable that the fans went with it organically. It was so organic. It wasn't forced, whereas these kind of flashy, kind of attitude era-esque segments in the modern era can be forced. It was so organic. Everyone loved Jericho. And because the segment was so entertaining and so great, you've given us the best version of Jericho and Owens that we really love. Then you take it away.
It was the Shield. It was the Shield breaking up.
Yeah.
It was too early to break up. But because you did it early, it hurt.
Yeah.
It was Jericho's bringing up the list. Oh, a new list. Why is my name on here? Beautifully so. When Jericho gets it right, Jericho was one of the greatest of all time. It's really sad what his AEW run is becoming, because it started off so great. It's been so poor recently. And you watch this, you go, this ain't that long ago. And this is how good he was. I just wish the Mania match was better and for the title. And the main event, why was it not the main event?
It was the second match on, which
it's an insult. It is an insult.
Absolute insult.
It's not it's not as big an insult as Jericho led it to believe. I think he could calm down on that, but it is still an insult. Why not open the card?
They carried Raw for most of that year, and Owens had been a great champion.
We've got to get those part-timers in, though.
I know, because that needed the title, didn't it?
But the Festival of Friendship is a great segment, one of the greatest segments of all time.
Gilbert came back.
He did! Gilbert! Sam, put it into the Hall of Fame.
It's in the Hall of Fame.
Jericho and Kevin Owens, the Festival of Friendship.
Now, Sam, last but not least, what have you gone for with your segment into the Hall of Fame?
Still in the Rumble.
Of course.
And do you know what? I haven't left the 2005 Royal Rumble.
Okay.
but I'm not in the Royal Rumble itself.
No.
And I'm not actually at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. I know you thought I was going that way. I'm not. I'm actually talking about a promotional advert for the Royal Rumble. Now, the fact that you're making this face means you've missed out on one of the greatest adverts in the history of wrestling.
I might have seen it back in the day, but right.
So,
Jog my memory.
this is the West Side Story, effectively. You got people from Raw on one side, people from SmackDown, and they're all wearing dodgy wigs, because they're like West Side Story, and they're clicking, and then they start singing. And it's everybody. It's everybody. Benoit is in a wig. Jericho. You got JBL. Rey Mysterio's got a wig over his mask. It's really funny. And then they start singing. There's gonna be some trouble tonight. A very Royal Rumble. That's right. We'll step into the ring and reach an understanding. When the smoke clears, I'll be the last man standing. Because there can only be one Royal Rumble winner. And then they start fighting. It's amazing, Sam. It's
Just
one of
trying to
the
get my head around
greatest things. The fact that you've never seen it, right? We have to watch this. As soon as this is finished, we're putting it on. And if you haven't, go and find the Royal Rumble 2005 advertising. It's amazing. And this is when I look back, and there's a reason I want to put it in for two reasons. One, it's amazing, and it deserves to go in on its own. But two, you go, do you remember when people used to have fun? Like, when was the last time WWE had fun? Outside of maybe going back to the movies at WrestleMania 39?
But they always did that half-heartedly, didn't they?
Yeah,
it was
half. It felt
They
half-hearted.
didn't commit to it, and that's why it wasn't funny.
And then they're going, but you think that's so many funny things that they've done. Like the 2000, and I think it's the 2008 Royal Rumble, might be 7. And they're on the subway car, 2008. And they're fighting on the subway car. That's great. Fun. And they're singing. They're singing. It's really funny. Brock Lesnar F5 and a shark. Things
That's
like that.
funny, yeah.
Like, do those things, because that's what adheres to people. It gives people gimmicks. It gives people personality. Makes people laugh. And this, the West Side Story, Royal Rumble, and that's what, if you watch the match, when they said Raw on one side, SmackDown on another. That's what they were referencing. They were referencing the West Side Rumble. It was, honestly, Sam, I have to show you this at the end because it's amazing.
I thought you were going to put Vince in tearing his quads. I thought that's where you were going.
Don't get me wrong. It will go in one day.
Yeah.
But I think that I had to talk about the West Side Royal Rumble. Can I put in the West Side Royal Rumble advert
You sold me.
for Royal Rumble 2005 into it?
It can go in there.
There you go. I can't wait to know what picture I'm going to put on the screen that's going to be in for it. But the West Side Royal Rumble advertising for the 2005 Royal Rumble is into the Hall of Fame. Thank you very much for joining. What do you think of our new inductions to the Hall of Fame? What would you like to put in? What is one of your favourites? Do you remember the 2005 Royal Rumble promotional? It's fantastic. I love it so much. Thank you very much for joining. This has been Baby Sam.
Hello. And
Don't
goodbye.
forget to like, share and subscribe. And we will see you at the Hall of Fame next time. It's gonna be some trouble tonight. A very Royal Rumble, that's right. We'll step into the ring and reach an understanding. When the smoke clears, I'll be the last man standing. Because there can only be one Royal Rumble winner.